What's up, everybody? JJ here. We are about to talk about the CrossFit 2018 Age Qualifier. So, starting the broadcast a couple minutes early for you guys so you guys can jump on. I definitely want to hear your comments and questions, so type those into the little comment box, wherever that happens to be on the screen, from whatever device you're using. For you guys, those of you guys watching live. Now, I've got a really busy blackboard here, so I will take a close-up picture of this and put it in the article. The article should come out in a couple hours later tonight. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited that they put rope climbs into the open. I have to say, I didn't expect them to do that because there's just so many variables around that, but you never know. This is kind of a different level when we do these online qualifiers. And there's also a lot of rope variances between gyms. So that was pretty cool to see. I'm kind of interesting. It's, you know, there was kind of this rower controversy. For those of you guys who don't know, there was kind of questions about kind of if you look it up, just look up rower damper settings for calories 2018 CrossFit Open. Some rowers, some Concept 2 rowers, depending on the monitor type, have a different effect on the calories. So we'll talk about that. But overall, there's also not a heavy lift. I guess we did the heavy lift in the open, so I guess they're not going to put a heavy lift in here. So this is, I think, one of the first times they've done that. They almost always have some sort of challenging heavy lift, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, 4 workouts. There is heaviness in them. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely heavy stuff going on. But we definitely, but overall, there's some pretty short workouts. I think that this number 1 and number, what is it, number 4 are going to be probably some of the shortest ones. The pull-ups and the cleans could be a faster one if you're really good at it, and then of course we got 120 to an AMRAP. So I'm going to start talking about the overall program here. Be ready for repeats. You know, if you follow my stuff at all, I'm not a big fan of repeats in the open, but for this stage, if you are at this level, you need to get every possible point you can. So I would definitely be ready for repeats, and at least each workout, not every workout twice, but potentially every workout twice, and maybe even a third time on something like the rope climb one if you just happen to botch the rope climbs. You know, have your friends do them with you for pacing. So this is another thing that I want to talk about is do not trust the leaderboard. So the problem is that people, if anybody posts any scores at all, that's probably not going to be the last one they post. And so if you start trying to leaderboard during this, you're not going to see accurate scores. And so I don't want you guys measuring yourself off the leaderboard. You kind of need to measure yourself to the video you did it last time. Or again, having people in your gym just do the workout once or do it with you. Try to recruit some friends that maybe they have to scale some of this stuff, but comparable to where you're at. That's gonna be huge to help you understand kind of how to approach this workout. If you have somebody do it before you even do it your first time, you can learn from them. Then you make an attempt, and then maybe have them go with you during the workout, so you have someone to go against. And then you can do it again on the repeat. So don't trust the leaderboard, and try to have your friends help you out as far as pacing goes. If you're in some of our private forums and stuff, you may see some people kind of posting scores. I'd really appreciate it. We got a couple dozen people doing the online qualifier at least. So I know I've had lots of people asking me for these videos. This one, they're like, "You're gonna do it for the Masters qualifier too, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, don't worry." I was surprised how many people that aren't even doing Thrivestry were asking for that stuff. So I'm glad it's helping you guys out. Always review the standards. Always review the standards. You never know what's going on. You never assume that it's the same standard as last time. Never assume that that you know the standard or what you normally do in the gym is going to be the standard. So always review the standards, and then check the video rules and video everything, right? So remember, this is the qualifier, and they could ask for any one of these videos, and don't be the guy who's like, well, I don't know, I'm probably not going to make it. I don't need to video my workouts. I was 100th or whatever. Just do it anyway, because you never know what's going to happen, and you don't want to have to repeat that workout, right? So always check the videos. Just remember, you can't take a cut of your fastest round and then loop it. You actually have to do the whole workout. Some people have tried that in the past. But note the rules. So you're going to have to measure the height of the rope. You're going to have to show your handstand push-up deal. So make sure you understand the rules for the videos for each workout, and that you're doing that as well. All right. So workouts. So we've got our thruster rope climb workout number 1. great workout. This is actually not outside of my personal wheelhouse. Not a big fan of thrusters, but when there's only a few reps, that's not too bad for me. A little bit heavier weight, which is good for a bigger guy. But you need to move fast on the thrusters. So obviously you're going to want to be coming down as fast as you can. Squat clean that first rep. So that's allowed as long as you're starting below parallel and you come up. Make sure you squat clean that first rep and then just try to crank those out fast. The real thing I think most people are going to be doing this. I think it's 135, 95. Most people are going to be doing those unbroken. So you can't expect on 4, 8, 12 to maybe a rest at the top overhead. But the real time is going to be made up for on the rope climbs. So one of the biggest things on rope climbs is jumping for that first rep. So make sure, well, first of all, make sure you've got the rope you like. If your gym has different types of ropes, make sure you're using the rope that you're the most comfortable with. But then when you go to start your first rep, even practice this. Getting some good height on that first rep so that you're jumping up, and that could save you a pull. So the other thing is for some of you guys, especially taller people, maybe you have bigger hands, legless is actually going to be really important. So make sure that if you're good at legless, maybe you do legless on the first round or two, or the first rep of each round, because that's a lot faster. If you can scurry up the rope and a few pulls and tag that thing, that's going to save you a ton of time. So if you're good at legless, if you've been doing Thrivestry, we do a ton of legless work. We do a ton of rope pull-ups. That's really going to help you on this one. The other thing is down fast. So this is applying to anybody who's using their legs, or even if you're doing legless and then you can grab with your feet quickly. There's a really important technique that I've developed with a lot of games athletes and things I've worked with, is coming down the rope fast. And so I don't know if you guys can see my diagram here, but what I've got is and comment questions, and make sure you guys make sure I know you guys are hearing me okay. But so I've got a guy or a lady climbing up and touching the top of the 15-foot mark, right? And the horizontal line here is actually the 11-foot mark that you have to crawl below before you're allowed to drop. And what you want to see is some people will climb up and then they slide down the rope. And the thing is about sliding down the rope is that actually takes more time than if you were to touch the top border, squat, leaving your feet there, so the same height, squatting down and reaching down below, reaching down by your knees, so below the line, and then letting your feet go, and then dropping, so you're hanging, usually be hanging, a couple feet off the ground, and then you drop and then you win, right? So this is the guy who's winning right here. So hopefully that helps explain the down fast technique. So you're going to climb up, you're going to touch, and your feet will be locked on, and then you're just going to literally drop your hands and grab below your knees, and then unhook your feet and then hang, so you're showing the proper hang position, and then drop to the ground. This is a very fast way to get down below get off the rope fast, because in this workout, because it's so short, getting off the rope fast is going to save you a ton of time. One thing I wanted to point out, this is also a workout you could probably do minutes later and you might get a faster time. It should not blow you up that much. If the weight's pretty heavy, you're going to have to go slower, but it shouldn't make you terribly sore. The only thing it's going to affect is your grip, right? So we're going to talk about grip a little bit more in a minute. Yeah, so if you need to this is one that if you don't nail the rope climbs, you're going to probably want to repeat so that you have that to that rope climb. So trying to see who else is on here. Give me a shout out so I can see who's on here watching the video today. I want to say hi. But so then we've got number 2 is pull-ups and cleans, right? So this is not an insignificant amount of pull-ups, right? Chest to bar pull-ups, or head above the bar pull-ups. So don't blow up your grip. So for some people, you may want to have as much time as possible to go through the clean, so you might try to go 20 or 25 in a row. If you can do that, as long as it's not going to affect your grip on the cleans. If you don't have a grip problem, go ahead and do that. But otherwise, even then, the second round you might be more blown up. So you might go that first round, maybe break it up once or go unbroken. But on the later rounds, don't do these super big sets unless you know you're going to be able to go right in and do those cleans right away. Right, so for most people, you might want to do a set of 15 kind of shake it out, and then maybe 5-5, and then hit that first clean, and then steady hitting each one of those cleans. And then if you rush through the pull-ups again, you're not really going to be recovered for the next set of cleans. So it's okay to break those up to get through it. So your first round should be pretty fast. If you do the math, it's about 3:45 per round. So if you want to finish this in under the 15-minute cap, you're going to have to finish it at about 3:45. That's going to seem really easy for most people, as long as you can handle that load, because that's not a light load. As long as you can handle that load, that first round will seem pretty fast. The second round will be a little bit of a wake-up call, and then by that last round, you might be pushing it. But obviously, this workout is really more about the people who can clean that weight quickly. If strength isn't your thing, unfortunately, because of how long this workout is, you're just going to be staring at the bar a lot, waiting for when you can do the next rep. Now, you can do, remember, you can do power cleans, squat cleans, or split cleans. Any of those things are allowed. So use the version that's going to let you get the bar up with the least amount of fatigue. I wouldn't always squat clean or whatever. If you can, try. For most people, usually a power or split clean is actually going to get it easier. But if it's so heavy you have to squat clean it, you got to do what you got to do. There is no tiebreaker for this, so it's either you get a time or you get a rep. So there might be a lot of people who just tie with 25 pull-ups, and so and that's fine, guys. That just means this workout's a wash, and move on to the next one. Now for the 55 pluses, it does say it's chin. They call it chin over the bar. And I just want to remind people. I don't know if you can see this diagram here, but chin over the bar means chin above the horizontal plane, right? So they actually are very specific about the horizontal plane. So this would be the vertical plane. So if this is the pull-up bar, this is the vertical plane. You do not have to pass your chin over the vertical plane. It's the horizontal plane. So imagine the top of the pull-up bar is the top of the water, and as long as your head goes out of the water, you are you're good, right? So just make sure that your head is going above water for it to count. It doesn't have to be over the plane of the bar. Number 3, wall balls. I like this workout, by the way. I can't believe they brought back the 100 double unders again, but that's cool. We do a lot of double unders, and including some workouts that have 100. If you guys are doing the monostructural stuff that we do, the aerobic power stuff we do, you'll see 100 double unders showing up a lot. So if you've been skipping out on that stuff, you're gonna get hammered a little bit, like we did in the open. So just make sure that you guys take that stuff seriously and do it when I write it. But wall balls, go fast, but don't trash the shoulders. So depending on how tall you are or whatever, the wall balls might be the challenging thing. But there's only, if it's 50 and you have 20 minutes, you're probably going to get through the first round as long as you can do handstand walks. But one of my biggest tips on wall balls is you've got to learn how to use your wrist and fingers to flip that ball up. That's going to get the ball higher. Now where that pays off is you won't have to extend your arms all the way to get it up. You'll be able to go here and then flip, depending how tall you are, and still make it a good rep. And that's going to save your shoulders for the double unders, for the handstand walks, and make everything else go a lot easier. So try to be really efficient and not use as much of your shoulders as possible when you're doing the handstand walks. When you're doing the wall balls. Double unders, 100 double unders, relaxed. Keep the hands neutral. Try to be really efficient. Don't get frustrated if you mess up. Just go right back after it. But I think a lot of people realize that even if you can do 100 double unders in a row, maybe you don't want to, because you'll end up being really blown up for that handstand walk. So maybe consider breaking that up, just so that you're rested for the handstand walk, or at least if you're only going to be able to do handstand walks in 5 or 10 foot increments, get through those double unders fast, and then just start chipping away at the handstand walks. But especially in the later rounds, kind of breaking up the double unders a little bit is gonna help you meter your intensity, and it'll allow you to go harder on everything else and not be too trash for things like handstand walks. For the handstand walks, now this is what I'm talking about. Kind of one of the general themes I've seen for this entire thing, and this is critical. So you guys need to take note of this, and that's wrist mobility. So you'll notice that with rope climbs, chest to bar pull-ups and cleans, and even these snatches, we're going to be doing a lot of grip work. And what happens is that tends to affect wrist flexion, which makes Handstand walking, much harder. So if you already are somebody who struggles with a little bit with wrist flexion, and you struggle with handstand walks, and maybe you struggle with handstand push-ups, you're going to get punished this year significantly unless you do something about that. So make sure you're spending time mobilizing your wrist, trying to get that extra range of motion, and it's going to be important in the order of the workouts that you're going to do, so that you don't end up sabotaging your wrists. So if you do this in order, for example, if you went 1, 2, 3, your wrist could be significantly blown up from these 2 workouts for 3 and 4. Or when you go to do the repeats, if you've done them all, and then maybe you even repeated one of these twice, then you go back and try to do number 3 like on Monday, you're gonna wonder why your handstand walks are all messed up, and it's because your wrist flexion is jacked. So make sure you mobilize your wrists, and so I'll try to make multiple points about that in the video. Now again, I've talked about this before, but if you can't do handstand walks this way because of wrist flexion, you may try turning your hands like this. That might help you get maybe 5 feet at a time. Just remember that you're not going to have as much balance control, because when you're doing handstands, you need to have your fingertips to help you stay balanced. That being said, you can easily go 5 feet if you just get you got to get your weight falling forward, and then you got to take some fast steps. I think a lot of people try to have too much control when they're learning how to do handstand walks, and so they don't get their center of mass moving, and you just got to walk fast with your hands and then fall or just get across the line, right? So as long as you start behind the line and go across the line, you're going to be legit. So just take those fast steps and go and take it one chunk at a time. So this is important. What rower do you have? Again, there's this controversy. I don't remember the exact model numbers, so you have to look that up online. But some rowers, you can set the damper really low, and then you just basically do slow pulls, and it counts calories a little bit differently than some of the other monitors, and it can be a lot more efficient energy-wise. So if you have one of those rowers, just test your rower and just test the style. If you with a lower damper setting and just kind of doing slow pulls get you the meters, but you feel good, use that technique. So I don't recommend it, but you might as well test to see what works for you in the rower. But other than that, if that doesn't seem to work for you, remember rowing calories tend to reward people who have a higher intensity. So the faster you go, the less total meters you're going to have to row. So usually you might want to push the pace a little bit on that, on the row. And then from my calculations, it should be about 9 to 12 minutes per round. For one round. So some people are going to get through 2 rounds of this. I would not be surprised, which is 800 double unders in a workout. But I won't be surprised if people get that. But I think a lot of people are going to be in that like 10 to 11 minutes. Really, this one comes down to the handstand walks, right? If you're good at handstand walks and you don't suck at double unders, this workout's all about those 2 movements, which is going to kind of reward some people who have been doing their skill work that we program in Thrivestry, right? We do a lot of handstand walks and handstand work with that, and of course we also do a lot of wrist mobility in our accessory work as well. Number 4. So we've got handstand push-ups, burpees over the bar, and snatches. This goes back to wrist mode. So I have another little diagram here. It's kind of hard to see. I'll pull it up. So you can see how the hands of this guy is far away from the wall, and I do think this is one of the reasons why people struggle with the standard, is that they're not used to having their hands so close to the wall, and of course under their shoulders. Or just depending on the lengths of their arms, they may have to go narrower and closer to the wall. And then the other thing is people will, when you have that wrist flex like this on something flat like a pad, when you go to extend it up, you're going to bind up. So again, I've used this in the other videos, but if you make 2 fists and reach your arms up over your head, you can do it wherever you're watching this video, you'll feel and really shrug. Now flex both your wrists back as hard, almost like if you were pressing up the ceiling, and then press up overhead. You're going to find yourself binding, and it's not going to be as easy to get that full extension as everything winds up. And so having that wrist mobility is going to make those handstand push-ups a lot easier, and getting that really reaching through here, and then also of course dorsiflexing the foot, right? So when we dorsiflex the foot, the heel goes above the line, but that means it's pulling your toes to your knee. So you guys should be at this level. You should be familiar with that standard, but make sure you've got it dialed in. This workout is really going to be more about the handstand push-ups, I think, for most people, than obviously the burpees or the snatches. Not a terribly heavy snatch. I know for maybe a smaller person it's going to be a little bit heavier, but with only what is this? It's 963 reps, right? With 3 reps, it shouldn't be too crazy. 5-minute workout means you need to make every rep count. So make sure that you're making every one of those handstand push-ups count. If you need to, be a lot slower and deliberate on the handstand push-ups, and then go faster on the other 2 things, just so you can have more time to get through every single one of those reps. Now, if you're really good at handstand push-ups, that one's going to be a burner. But again, going back to the wrist and the grip thing, this is one of the key points I really want you guys to take away from this, is that if you do these other workouts, especially these first 2, your grip's going to be taxed. It's going to be a lot harder to do handstand walks and a lot harder to do handstand push-ups. So make sure that when we pick the order, that you're not doing these too many times before you get these out of the way. So kind of the assignments. So if you're not doing it right now as I'm talking about this video, maybe you already did one, that's fine. You're not ruining your performance. But I really recommend you guys do number 3 first. It's a little bit longer of a workout. It will tax your calves, but it's not really going to make you sore. There's 2 sets of 50 wall balls if you get through that second round. Handstand walks are handstand walks, right? They shouldn't make you too tired. The double unders is gonna make your calves sore, but if you break it up, it shouldn't be as bad. But that way, you're doing it with your wrists, your grip not having been taxed from these other movements. It's also one that you're going to be able to repeat. You're going to want to repeat probably on so this is either Thursday or Friday, by the way. You can do it again on Sunday, right? So you don't want to save that one until Monday when you've done the other ones more than once, and again, your grip is fried, and you're losing that wrist flexion. The other one is number 1, right? So again, like I mentioned earlier, the thruster pull-up one, this is one you could probably do 3 times. Again, it really comes down to having a really efficient rope climb. So I would actually take some time tonight, if you can, or before this workout, practice your rope climbs, practice that descent technique, that fast down technique, before you even start the workout. That way you don't have any hiccups during it. Then on Saturday, you're going to want to do number 4 and number 2, probably in that order. I would do the handstand push-up burpee snatch one first, and then if you can, a few hours later, do the pull-up and clean one. So that, again, the pull-ups are going to tax you. They're going to make your arms sore. I don't want you doing that one, or make your grip sore. I don't want you guys doing that one before doing all those handstand push-ups. And then Sunday, you can repeat number 3 and number 1. See how it feels, and you're going to kind of be resting for your Monday repeats. And then on Monday, you're going to pick which one you need to repeat. You're going to look at your scores. You're going to watch your videos, right? Because you recorded every single one, like I told you, so you can look and see where you can make up time, go a little faster, break things up better. So make sure you review your game film, right? And also looking at some of your people's scores in your gym. Now, if you have friends in the Masters community, maybe they're in a different age group. You could reach out and say, "Hey, bro, what'd you get?" So there's not a little bit less competitiveness there too. You can help each other out, right? Obviously, share your score as well. But yeah, you're going to want to repeat the ones that you need to do. So again, if you end up doing so it'll probably end up being number 4 or number 2, right? Because we only did them once here. So it'll probably be either one or the other, depending on where you're at. But if you have to, you can even repeat number 3 and number 1, because those ones aren't too taxing. But that's kind of my thought, is get the number 3 and number 1 done early before your wrists get totally fried, and then hit it hard on Saturday with number 4 and number 2, and then Sunday repeats, and then Monday repeats. I think that's it for you guys for the video. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and write them in here. I don't know if I see live comments. Oh, Blake. What's up, Blake? We have 2 teen females doing the qualifier. Sweet, brother! I didn't know that. That's awesome. So I can't wait to hear about how they're gonna do. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty exciting. What are their ages? Are they doing the scaled, or are they doing are they the older bracket where they basically do a lot, pretty much the same as some of the advanced people? I don't have the standards here in front of me. You know, for the teen 16 to 17, it's like the 135 thruster, 95 thruster, and then the younger teens is 95, 65, I guess. So I guess that's the other one. Oh, did I lose my live stream? There we go. Yeah, so I've got a bunch of people. I do want to see you guys posting in the Thrivestry private forum about kind of what if you guys have any questions or advice about the how to approach these workouts. I do want to hear you guys if anybody qualifies. Maybe even post some scores in there for us so we can all learn from it and help each other out, and maybe we can get some of you guys to the games this year. All right. Cool, that's it. I'm going to write an article. I'll post it later tonight. Usually it takes me a couple hours to kind of get all this stuff back down into a readable format. And like I said, I'll post a close-up photo of this. And thanks for watching. Good luck in the qualifier this year. And just remember that you're either winning or learning, right? So make sure you're taking notes. Make sure you're learning from all this experience for next year. And don't get too caught up if you don't make it this year. Just start getting ready for next year. But give it a full effort, and let me know how you do. Whether no matter how good you do or how poorly you do, just let me know whether you're winning or learning. Tell me what you learned. All right, guys. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next video.